Hello, my beautiful, gorgeous dance baby, and welcome to another episode of More Than Dance. Today, we are going deep into overwhelm and how we can come above it and feel okay. I don't know about you, but I am feeling overwhelmed right now. I'm feeling like I'm not keeping up with things I want to keep up with. I'm feeling behind, which is a theme that I like to talk about with you. I'm feeling like a lot of things in my head are like going like this, and then my rate of production is like not enough. Not enough. Oh my God, the phrase, like that word is just such a tricky phrase, because it's not enough. Like, how dare we say that about like what we're doing? I know for a fact that if I was my own student, I would be like, no, but you're doing so good. You're working this way, da, 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 da. And I would say all these great things that I know that I'm cognizant that I'm doing. And yet, because I'm living in my day to day, I'm kind of beating myself up around the fact that like there's more I could be doing. And this gets into comparison, which is a theme that we talk about. And I'm comparing. What am I comparing? I don't know. I'm getting into just some like not good headspace. And I figured if I'm feeling like this, then there's a chance that you might be feeling like this and we can reset together. So actually, Josh was so cute today. He was like, what's going on? I was like, I'm so overwhelmed. And he was like, you're going to get your period. And like, that's it. And he's probably right, like he normally is. And that can play into it for sure. And then he was also like, have you written down everything that is in your mind? Like, have you written it all down? And I actually love this technique. For me, it's called brain dumping. And I actually first heard about this from Mel Robbins. I think her book, The 5-Second Rule. And she talks about brain dumping and getting a piece of paper and whatever is in your head, you just write it all down. And the purpose of the brain dump isn't so that it's pretty. It's not like, okay, like make this really cool categorized list and it's nice and color coded. It's just like, it could be a word here, a word here, a word. The point is it's out of your head and it's on paper. And once it's on paper, you can do something about it and you can make action happen. So I went to a conference recently where I met beautiful souls, beautiful people that I want to see on a daily basis, relate to, talk to. And I also have Halloween going on right now. And we're doing all these different types of movement, themes, costumes. And then there's wedding season right now. So naturally it's overwhelming because there's just more on my plate. But because I'm futuristic thinking, there's more on my plate because I want to implement everything that I want to implement. Because something that happens that I know probably happens to you is you learn something and then you want it to be part of your life. And it doesn't happen instantly. And this is just like dance. I can't tell you how many people have come to me and they said, I want to learn how to dance. And they're like, I want to do a lesson with you. And maybe that lesson had a great start and they know, and I know, that by the end of the lesson, they're not where they want to be. And it's really grasping your brain around the fact that, whoa, I am learning a skill and this isn't going to be immediate just because I came to one lesson, 1 hour. If I think about the hours that I put into dance and I'm still putting into dance, oh my gosh, so many. And technically, I'm not where I want to be yet in dance. We always have a goal to where we're going to go to. And so they come and they're like, I just want it to be immediate. And it's not. And what I'm feeling is when I learn something and I'm like grasping a new concept or even a relationship that I want to bring into my life. Like we met so many great people and it's not immediate. You still do the process of getting to know the person. You still do the process of learning that new skill and bringing it in. Like, for instance, I'm learning a new DJ board right now. And it's new. There's a learning curve. And so when we feel overwhelmed, not only are we feeling overwhelmed because we're thinking about the thing that we're doing, we're thinking about the fact that it's not there yet. And for me, I know that like some of the stuff that's in my head right now, just like brewing, because I have not yet sat down and written down the brain dump that I'm telling you to do, that I am going to do after this. And there's no action plan in place. And that's going to be one of the best things that I can do when overwhelm comes through. What are you overwhelmed about? What is it? And then what are you going to do about it? For some reason, for me, visual things have always like made more sense. So I can picture how my brain dump is going to go because like the organization part of me is like, ooh, it's got to look like this. That's why I said, don't worry about your brain dump being pretty. So when I'm going to write everything down, I'm just going to like love that it's messy. And then later I'm going to put it into categories, and it's going to be categories of my life. So I have a DJ category of things. I have a dance category, and actually there's 2 categories in dance. There's me as a teacher, and then there's me as a student because I still take dance classes. Maybe there's more categories in dance, honestly, because then there's me as a performer, and there's just different elements. Then I could break down my businesses. The point is, once I brain dump, then I can categorize, and then I can make action. And when I'm making action, it really becomes about your timeline and your goal focus. Because if you're going to try and do too many things at once, you're doing too many things at once, and therefore nothing gets done. So it's nice when you can visualize your list of things in your categories and pick one and a by when date. I like that phrase anyway. So it's just like, okay, I'm going to do this. Okay, by when? By when are you going to have that thing done? This is probably just a common organizational skill. This is something that like someone who is hyper organized, maybe my type A babies, they're going to be like, yeah, duh, like that's what we do. But for someone like me where that doesn't come naturally, that's like a skill that we work on. It's important to know that that's the option. Like, oh, right, I get to say by when. And then I get to put that in my calendar. And it's like this one-step process for someone, but within that one step, there's 100 steps. And it's very much like dance. So when you think about, oh, I want to learn how to dance. Okay, by when? And what are we doing by then? Actually, in fact, someone just called me and they were like, I want to learn a dance. I want to learn a striptease for my husband. Okay, by when? What's our timeline? Because I need to know how many times we're going to get you in. I know approximately how long it's going to take. I know how long it's going to take me to choreograph. And then there's this other thing, and it's like your competency of the skill that you're working on, in this case, dance. So I can teach someone to dance in about 10 hours, a full routine. Them executing that routine the way that they envision themselves executing that routine might be a shocker, because remember, when we have a skill, we have the depths of that skill. We have everything that goes into that skill. So that one skill of being able to just know like, oh, when I'm doing something, I need a by when date and I'm going to put it on my calendar. For someone who's a type B, they don't know that. They don't know like, oh, I have to pick a timeline. Oh, it needs to fit in. Just like my dancers, they come in and they're just like, I'm a dancer. My brother and I, when we were kids, we used to play this really dumb game. It's not even a game really. It's like we would be in separate bedrooms. There's a wall in between us and we would like knock, and then he would be like, knock, knock. And he'd be like, are you a dog or a cat? And I would say what I would say, like whatever I wanted to be, right? So I'd be like, dog. And he'd be like, you're a cat, like through the wall. And like it was such a dumb game because then he would go knock, knock. And then he'd be like, are you a dog or a cat? And then like me, like thinking, ooh, how's he going to go this time? I'd be like, dog. And then he'd be like, you're a dog. And it was just like this stupid, dumb game. And then sometimes like there really was no strategy. I mean, you'd think there was strategy, but there wasn't. And I hope that he's watching this and laughing because it was such a fun, stupid game. But this is kind of like how my dancers want to be. They want to be like, hi, like I want to sign up for dance class. I want to be a dancer. And they want me to be like, you're a dancer. And like the funny thing is, I actually believe that you're a dancer. I really do. Once you come in and you're committing to yourself, you're committing to your dance journey, I believe that you are a dancer. And then my students believe I am not a dancer until I fully execute this move the way that I'm visualizing, the way that you do it, the way I saw it on YouTube, the way it's on Instagram, the way that this girl does it. When I get my flexibility, when I feel good about my body, when I lose 10 pounds, when I lose 50 pounds, when I feel comfortable to take my shirt off. It's like, that's all these little like by whens. By the time that I do this and here. No, by the time you step into the dance studio, you've started. You're it. For instance, when someone's running a race, it's not when they finish the race, they're a runner. They're a runner during the race. They started running, they're a runner. There it is. They're a runner. So when you're thinking about overwhelm, and this is very common because someone can come to the studio and see all that we do and be like, wow, I've got a lot to learn. And that's how I feel right now. I've made some friends with some really cool, talented, just extraordinary business women. And I'm like, whoa, like I'm stepping into the dance studio. Like, wow. Like I see that that's possible. 2, I see that we're pretty similar, so it can be possible for me. 3, I see, whoa, there's a lot that I get to do to get there. So when you're stepping into the studio or you're stepping into something that you want to step into, there's a lot that you get to do. Notice my phrasing there. There's a lot that you get to do to become who you're becoming. We're about to do a big photo shoot at the studio. We have a really cool goddess day where I invite people to the studio and I help them come up with a look of who they're becoming. And a lot of them have these things that they've shared with me. And so from there, we derive adjectives that they're going to become. And then we do this photo shoot and we create this visual. And when they look at that visual, they're like, whoa, like I have become that. And it's kind of like the episode, if you've listened to it, it's be, do, have, not have, do, be. And it's being in the body. We also talked about this in the episode about the costume. And it's stepping into the energy of what does that person do? So you're this dancer. Well, what does a dancer do? A dancer doesn't show up for one class and that's it. A dancer doesn't expect to get it on the first try. A dancer's mindset is so strong that they can be wrong, definitely wrong, mess up, and then still be eager and hungry to do more, to attack the movement more, to go in harder, to fumble, maybe mess up, maybe step on their heel, and then be like excited to do it again. I had a dance lesson today myself, which was so amazing. It just felt so good. It was a one-on-one, and it's so funny because like I'm in the mode of understanding like teaching and dancing when I'm taking a lesson. I'm like, oh, okay. And he is just such a great instructor because he just lets me like kind of roll the way I need to for my learning. And that's just another great tip that I've grown to love about when you're doing something for yourself is like know what you need and know how to ask for it. So for instance, today, like I wanted to go over something specific and we started going over that and then we kind of teetered off just a little bit. And I was like, I want to go back to this. And then he was like, okay, let's do it. And there was this move that we were doing and it was like step together, step over, step this, ball change. And I was like, okay. And like my foot, because of the weight transfer, because dance is all about weight transfers, I wasn't transferring the weight the right way at the right time. And I was like, oh, let's do it again. But the joy in my face, like, because I was learning something. So I was excited how wrong I was so that I could learn. Because like once you know what's wrong, you're like, oh my God, let's figure it out. And that takes me back to my other episode that I love for people to listen to. And it's how to ask questions as a dancer. Now, I already know that skill. So I'm like, wait a minute, when I'm transferring this weight, like I have my question all ready to go because I know what's going on. I know why I'm not getting it. And when you're stepping into the studio, there's this energy that I notice. And it's like this. Hi, I'm trying to learn how to dance. Like, hi, I'm just trying. I'm trying something new. And what I think is helpful is when you come in and you're learning something new, I think this is what you do. Hey, hey, I'm here. I'm doing this new thing. This is what I'm doing. And there's a sense of commitment with that energy. There's a sense of, okay, we talked about the word try. We talked about why I don't like it. If you're trying something, you're letting yourself know like, hey, if you don't do it, you're fine. Don't worry. You only said you were going to try it anyway. So when you come in and you're like, I'm going to dance today, it's like, whoa, even yourself kind of like steps back and is like, we're dancing today? What? And then you're like, your stronger, higher, fifth dimension self is like, yes, we're dancing today. And then your other self is like, I don't know how. I've never learned. I've never tried. And then this higher self, this like you becoming you self goes, we're going in today, and get excited about it. And you're going to be fine. And don't worry. And that self is like, I don't know. I don't want to fail. I don't want to mess up. And then this other self is like, you got this. And the problem that I see is this self People don't have enough experience developing that self, so they don't know how to talk to it. They also don't know how to listen. So when they're saying, oh, I don't know, I'm just trying, their higher self isn't developed. So it's just like, yeah, I know, right? It's like the friend. It's like the friend that just like forgives you for everything that you do. Like, I didn't get out of bed today. Oh, I didn't either, babe. Or I said I was going to go to the gym today, but I didn't. That's okay. You can go tomorrow. Like, we all have that friend, and it's nice sometimes to have that friend. But then it's also nice to have that friend that's like, you didn't go again? Come on, you got this. You can do it. Go tomorrow. Text me. I'm going to go too. We'll go at the same time. And when we can train our higher self brain to be like, you're dancing. You do know you're dancing, right? You're dancing. Meanwhile, our like other self is like, no, I'm just trying to do it. I don't know how. We need the other friend. We need the other brain to say, no, you're doing it, because that's going to allow us to step into our power and be like, wow, I am. Wow, look at me. And then guess what? When you come in with that energy, the moves look better on you. So you actually believe yourself more when you look at the playback. You're like, wow, that actually kind of looked good for a second. Whoa, who's that? That's your higher brain self dancing versus your guarded, shy, timid, I'm not good enough self dancing. So we're talking about overwhelm. And me, I'm telling this to you, and I'm like, the what ifs come out, and it's like, okay, well, what if I put this effort in and I don't get anywhere? That's a lie. That's just foolish. That's not even real. So the next thing is okay, you did your brain dump, and your second thing is to find out where you're lying to yourself. We need to learn how to quiet that part that tells us to stop, the part that tells us to dim our light, the part that says, yeah, maybe you should believe that you're gonna suck. I mean, that's horrible. So we brain dumped, we find our lies, and then we get to reframe the lies. Okay, so I'm not smart enough to do that. I don't know how to do that. Okay, well, let's find the facts. It's true that you probably don't know the skill yet. And it's also true that you've learned so many skills before. That means that if you have a good teacher, if you have good resources, if you have good discipline, you can learn something. And then we get into the time. Oh, but by the time that I do, that's a worry. So that's a fear plus a worry, which equals an excuse. And that's not good. We're fearful that we're not going to do it on time. We're believing the worry that it's like, ooh, and now we have the perfect excuse to rationalize, to basically talk back, right? This little brain, to talk back to our like heightened, elevated brain. And the rebuttal is just not there. Like, it's not going to make sense because your developed higher self brain is going to be like, you used that one last year. Caught you. That one's not going to work this time, babe. Like, that worked, that maybe went by. We slid that one by last time, but not this time. Another thing that is so interesting, and this is why we have intentions in dance. So Mel Robbins, amazing. If you've ever read anything of hers, like, she's just great. She calls it life overwhelm. And it's basically this idea that everything matters, everything. And that's what makes it overwhelming, is because if I'm thinking about something that's going on in February, that doesn't matter as much as something that's going on tomorrow. It still matters. So just the same as when one of my new students comes in and they're like, whoa, like I want to learn that style and this style and know how to do that and back arch and swan and like all these moves. They don't all matter right now. The staples matter. So like if you see a list, I mean, this is probably like never done this way, but just imagine all the moves in dance written down on display. Well, there's so many, but let's just say that there's 50. All those moves, you're looking at it. Wow, that's overwhelming. You don't know any of them? That's overwhelming. But what if I told you just needed 5 to get by? You'd be like, oh, 5? I got that. The problem is when you see everything, when you see all the possibilities, your brain doesn't do the math like that. It's like 50. I see 50. I need 50. I want 50 moves. That's what I'm signing up for. 5? No, I got more. It's the same as like when you're going to the gym and you're like, okay, well, today I'm working on legs. And then you're like, well, I could do some shoulders. Well, I could do some arms because you haven't been there in a while. No, that's not how it goes. You get to space things out. You get to have a learning curve. You get to take your time. And this is going to contribute to you not being overwhelmed. And as I'm telling you this, I was so overwhelmed today that like even this right now, I'm like talking to myself. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Because I get to be talking down to too. Like, I'm like, oh my God, all these 50 things, they matter. Could be 100, could be 75, could be 20. But really what matters is today I wanted to film a podcast. Today I wanted my dance lesson. Today I wanted to do this really cool thing I've been looking forward to doing at the studio forever. Today I have a meeting, and today I'm going to go to bed and get a good night's sleep. Those are my 5 things. And if I could focus on those 5 things, I may not be overwhelmed. There was a lot of other things that like happened in my day that like came up that was like, 10 to this, blah, 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 10 to this, blah, 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 10 to this. And then it gets to like the bigger thing, which is like, okay, well, the reason why you're needed here and you're needed here and you're needed here is because some other thing is failing. So the overwhelm is, how do I fix that and still go on this way? And so what matters right now is that I'm getting to my appointments on time. And then what matters right now is that I'm aware that those things are kind of weird and awkward and I get to fix them. What matters right now is putting in the place that is going to help those things not happen. So for instance, certain communications with certain people, certain cancellations that came about. Like, for example, I was scheduled for PT today, but they never told me I was scheduled for PT. And then like I had to call them and figure out the number and I was like, wait a minute. Like, so weird surprise occurrences that are overwhelming because I really do want my PT appointment and I would have been there. Like, you know what I mean? So it takes you on a trajectory of, well, great. Like now I'm thinking about that. And that's why the brain dump is so valuable, because you can get right back on track. And once you take your brain dump and you make it pretty and you make a whole list of everything that's important, you can actually create your action and be like, okay, I see that there's a flaw in this. How did I miss my PT appointment? Like, how did that happen? All right, now I have a system for it. I mean, that's not the best example, but you're getting it. So the next thing that can be helpful for you, so you've now written down your brain dump, and now you have things you wrote down in different categories. You have things organized. You kind of see things. The next is to understand the weight. Now, back in the day, I read this book, and it was kind of like a psychology book thing. It was cool. And they talked about pros and cons lists. And when you're writing something down in your pro and you're writing something down in your con, okay, cool. Let's say we have 17 pros and maybe 10 cons. Well, if you're looking at it item by item, well, okay, this pros win. We got 17. Cons, there's only 10. But if you go through and you weight everything, like a scale of 1 to 10 of importance and meaning, things change. So then you're adding a point system versus an item system. So the same can be true for your brain dump, and for even your categorized list is to go in and weight it of ultimate importance. And sometimes it's helpful to see the number that you think it is. And sometimes, let's be real, we lie to ourselves because we're thinking, for example, sorting out the whole PT thing today, I dealt with it with higher weight than it needed to. It was really like a 3. I wanted to figure that out, but like the way I was dealing with it was like, I got a call and da-da-da-da-da and da-da-da, and I gave it like a 10 energy. So I could have saved myself some overwhelm by treating it with the weight that it was. Like, no, they scheduled me weird. They didn't tell me that they made me an appointment. But I was like, oh my God, like this is so bad. And then that reflects back to basically, I guess, people pleasing. If I'm really going to check myself, I'm like, oh no, I didn't, like, I'm a good patient. Like, I don't skip my appointments. But I didn't make a mistake there. They just put me on the schedule oddly. My point is, once you categorize, once you weight, you know how to act and you know how to check yourself. So now I can check myself and I can say, wow, you totally handled that like a 10 and it really needed 3 energy. So now I can see where else I'm lying to myself. And I can see, okay, well, I weighted that a 5. Is that really a 5? Or is that actually a 10 because it's something I just so don't want to do, but I really get to do it? It's like the idea of like, this is going to get harder before it gets better. Like the episode on it's going to get messy before it gets better. Like, yeah, some things, some systems get very messy before they make that thing better. Mel Robbins also says, when everything's important, nothing's important. I just like thinking about it like that. So let's say you now have things that you want to do. You've got your things highlighted. You got the weight of like the importance on them. And you can do this with dance too. So you come in, you're like, all right, well, she said 5 things. I've got these 5 moves. And in order to do those 5 moves, I get to do these moves. And so you might find that in doing the one task that you want to do, it opens up this fun can of worms of other things you get to do before you do that thing. And that happens a lot. So in other words, for me to go off and like really use my new DJ board, I get to do a lot of things before I feel proficient with that board. And one of them is organizing all of my music and making it so clean and seamless so that I can find it easily. That's a big task, big, heavy, overwhelming task. I don't like it. So there's a couple things I can do. One, I can break it up into different categories. So for instance, right now, I'm working on just my cocktail music. Then I'll go just my dinner music. And then I'll go into like my wedding bangers that I'm like on the dance floor with. And then I'll go about it like that and then maybe like refresh it as I need to. And then the other thing that's overwhelming about that is, okay, well, once I start using that, it's probably likely that I'll want some type of different facade or covering because I might be using a mixer now. And so things might be cluttered on my table. So I get to incorporate more things now. And it's kind of like unknown territory. Like I could go a couple different ways. So now we've got decisions to make. So that can get overwhelming too, because now I realize I have decisions to make. And we know that my word this year is decide, which has been so fun. I'm so glad I chose this word. I feel like if you've never done this before, choosing a word for your whole entire year to focus on almost helps you with more goals than one because it's a focus and you're embodying that word in every element of your life. So it's like it attacks more than, and when I say attack, like I'm coming from like the gymnast mindset, the athlete mindset of like attack that tumble, like, so in a good way, attack. It attacks like so many different elements for yourself. Like for instance, I'm deciding right now, I'm deciding every day, like, okay, what topic am I going to do? And I wasn't even thinking about that word being helpful for podcasting. When I say decide, I'm able to tell Josh like more easily, like what food I want because I'm making that decision. So it's like better for our relationship because it's like, where do you want to go? Well, this is what I want. I've decided, but there's more on that later. When you're overwhelmed, there's also this other aspect of like, you're way too overwhelmed to even do the brain dump. And here's my advice. Do the brain dump and then do what your body needs. So neurologically, we might need a break of thinking. So it might be helpful for you to go for a walk, to go to the gym. Like if you feel lit up, maybe, you need to throw some weights around. Maybe you need to dance it out. Maybe you need to talk it out, walk with a friend. Maybe you need to do something that you don't normally do. Like today, I was so overwhelmed that I was about to just scratch my whole day of plans and just go shopping. And if you know me, that says a lot because I really don't like shopping. But I almost did. I have the gift certificate and I have some things, some events that I'm getting ready for. So I was like, well, I technically would be getting something done and I would be like relieving myself of like, but I didn't do it ultimately because of time and my commitments and my discipline. So you could, though, given a different situation, like I could have done that and I know it would have helped because I've used that strategy in the past. It just kind of gives yourself like a fresh mindset towards things that you're working on. This also plays into like the thinking and the feeling. So sometimes like if we trust our bodies are telling us like what we need. Like all day I was like, I gotta go. I want to go somewhere. I just want to go for a drive. I want to do something. So potentially like, yeah, I could have done that and it would have felt good. What I did do though, I snuck in like the quickest gym session ever. I went and I did one exercise 4 times and left, but I got in there and I moved weight around and it like helped me get like energy out. So trust your body. And then just this idea of boundaries. Again, we talk about boundaries and balance a lot, and it's a really powerful concept. And boundaries, we think about those in terms of like, oh, I'm going to tell this person no, and that's my boundary. Well, boundaries can happen for work as well and for overwhelm. So it's kind of like the boundary of, I'm not doing that today. That's not on my list today. And being very, very clear cut, basically with a boundary with yourself. And the same can be true on the dance floor. So the boundary would be you go in, you see the 50 things, you choose your 5. The boundary is please don't bring in number 6. Please don't bring in number 7 because I told myself I was going to focus on 5 things today and that's it. And we know like our capacity, like if we really can bring in another 6 because it's like slightly relatable to number 5, then it will make sense. But if it's really, if you bring over number 5 and next thing you know, you got 10 more things from the list of 50, you got to tighten up that boundary. So the next time that you're stepping into the dance studio and getting ready for a dance class and you notice that you're getting overwhelmed, go back to your intention. What was your intention for class? Go back to the idea of there's just a few things I'm going to work on today. The overwhelm can feel so real that it might be hard to step back. So work that muscle of being able to have that foresight to be like, whoa, you're doing it again, and know how to back out. Whoa, I see that you're getting overwhelmed. This is what we got to do now. I'm working on that. And sometimes I'm good at it. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, like you're getting overwhelmed. This is what you got to do. And then sometimes it like catches up with me in a weird way, in a period way. And I'm like, oh, I'm overwhelmed. Like, and then it's just like, I'm overwhelmed. And then I keep getting overwhelmed. And then I just feel like I'm sinking versus like, I'm overwhelmed. Boom. I'm overwhelmed. Oh, and like just knocking things out and getting them out of my way. And I want you to think about it like that. Like you get to learn all this information. So get excited about it versus feeling swamped by it. And that's the energy that I'm going to go into this next weekend and week with when I think about all these things I get to do. And really, that reframe, yes, I could say all these things I have to do, all these things I have to do. No, it's like I'm getting to do them because I'm choosing to, 1, and 2, because I'm bringing in the life that I want to live. So I get to do them. I'm choosing to. I want to. And it's giving me more power when I say that. Versus, I have to go do this. I get to go do this. I get to work on this life that I'm building. You get to go to class and pick things versus I have to go to class and no. So I invite you right now to do a brain dump with me. I'm going to like hop off camera and do one, and then go and do categories as you see fit, and then highlight the ones that are important and go through the highlight with weight, giving it the grade of, okay, this is a 10, this is a 5. And that's how you start. And that's how you make those next steps. And we can thank Mel Robbins for that, because what a great way to take one skill for that type A person to be like, oh yeah, priorities, I got it. For people like me and maybe you who are like, I don't know where to start and getting crippled by the anxiety of all the overwhelm, to bring that one skill that that person may have and bring it into like a tiny step process, which is so cool because we do that on the dance floor. This one step is actually these 10 steps. How cool. And memory wise, I think we talked about this before. Memory wise, we remember things in 7s. So if you can take 7 things and make it 1, next time you're overwhelmed, you're going to remember this thing as one thing versus all the 7 things that it is, or however many it is. You'll be like, oh, I got to do that process. That's one thing you got to do versus, oh, I got to do a brain dump. Oh, I'm going to do the categories. Oh, the highlight. Oh, the waiting. Oh, the deciding. Oh, the by when. Oh, there's one more to make it 7, but you get what I'm saying. So it becomes this skill that we have, and then we do it. So you get to do that today. Write down your brain dump, categorize it, go through, highlight, and then weight it, and then get going. And then I hope, just as much as I hope for myself, that the overwhelm will dissipate and we'll be on a track of doing and action versus worrying and thinking and overthinking and fear. And then lastly, if you need it, I know I need it, and I'm going to get it right now when I go to dance, is do something that gets you to reset and feel like, ooh, okay, I can do this now. And I'm so excited for dance tonight because we are doing something so different tonight. I can't wait. That's going to be my reset ritual. So I hope this was helpful for you today. And I hope that you're able to get yourself out of your overwhelm and on to some action. And if this was helpful for you, it would mean the world to me if you shared this with someone else, as this is the only way the podcast can grow. Thank you so much. And I'll see you on the dance floor.